concoction of navy and white that seemed to hide her curvaceous figure better than her usual, less mannish outfits. Tommy hated suits like this one. "Yeah, the Gordon case," she admitted glumly, and Tommy grimaced in sympathy. Randolph "Randy" Gordon was a two-time loser who specialized in forged passports, credit cards, sick notes, hell, even gun licenses for all they knew. This time, Hillary had caught him banged to rights with a stack of falsified papers destined for illegal immigrants, but his barrister had come up with a glitch in the arresting officer's procedure, and now it looked as if Gordon was going to walk. "Tough luck, Gov," Tommy commiserated quietly. Hillary sighed in acknowledgement, but was already shrugging out of her coat and slinging it across the back of her chair. Across the way, the door to DCI Mel Philip Mallow's office remained firmly closed, and she wondered if her immediate superior and friend for the last 20-odd years was even in yet. If he wasn't, it served the silly sod right. The whole station knew that the twice-divorced DCI Mellow Mallow and her sergeant, Janine Tyler, were all but shacked up together, and rumour also had it that it was this naughty relationship that had helped to scupper Mel's chances for a superintendency when their current boss, Marcus Donlevy, had been promoted. Way back in January, Marcus was supposed to have been booted upstairs. But due to some snafu or other, it was only now happening. And Hillary wouldn't have been human if she hadn't wondered if her own chances of stepping into Mel's shoes as a new detective chief inspector might just have been in the offing. But there'd been serious obstacles to that happening back then. Ronnie, the bastard, had died in a car crash, and with his death had come serious allegations of corruption. Corruption, moreover, that had been subsequently investigated and corroborated. Worse still, the internal investigation team had had her firmly in their sights too, for a while. But long since separated from Ronnie, Hillary had had nothing to do with his animal parts smuggling operation, as the investigation had finally proved. It would hardly have been auspicious for her promotion chances, though, had she not also solved a particularly nasty murder case going on at the same time. Now, of course, she'd long since put all thoughts of a promotion behind her. Mel wasn't getting booted up, so there was no opening for a DCI slot. Hillary gave a mental shrug and put all thoughts of Mel to one side. No doubt he knew as well as everyone else what a mess he'd made of things. And she knew that her friend was nothing if not ambitious, so why was he still, after nearly a year, sticking to his relationship with the unsuitable Janine Tyler? And speak of the devil, Hillary thought wryly, smiling inwardly as she watched D.S. Tyler swing through the door. In truth, there was no real mystery as regards Mel Mallow's ongoing relationship with his junior officer. Janine was almost the archetypal blonde bombshell. She was young, not yet 27, and had long pale blonde hair, the almost obligatory blue eyes, and a slim, athletic build that was the envy of many. Hillary had not been best pleased when she'd first learned of their affair. Janine, as a humble sergeant, was supposed to answer directly to Hillary, who answered to Mel, who answered to Donlevy, and so on up the food chain. The thing was, Janine tended to think that having the DCI's ear, as well as every other part of him, circumnavigated Hillary's part in the link. An error that had caused some friction between the two women in the past. Now, though, things seemed a bit more settled, although Hillary was well aware that Janine would have preferred to work with another DI. But that was life for you. Give it half a chance and it would bite you in the arse. "Janine?" Hillary greeted pleasantly as her pretty blonde sergeant settled herself down at her desk. "Making any headway with the warehouse fire?" "Arson, boss. Clear as day," Janine said, and for a while they went over her previous day's interview with the fire marshal, the witnesses, and the warehouse owner. Tommy, busy typing up his notes on his own cases, paused momentarily when Frank Ross, reeking of cigarettes and booze, shuffled by. The poisoned cherub, as he was universally known behind his back and sometimes to his face, was looking even more hungover than usual. He slumped down at his desk and began to initial pages on a report which even Tommy could see he was barely making a pretense of reading. The sooner Ross took early retirement, the better. It was a sentiment unanimously held at Kidlington Nick, from the desk sergeant up to the chief constable. Only Frank Ross never seemed in the mood to oblige. Hillary, going through her own paperwork with rather more diligence, finally took a break.